My name is Giovanna. I am the daughter of Giuseppe Pastore. We are sheep farmers in the year 1463. It is in the mountainous region of Abruzzo, which is now part of the Kingdom of Naples. Our flock has about 200 sheep. Every year around late September, our shepherds take the sheep downslope to a different pasture where it is warmer during the winter and the grass still grows. To do this, they must use the trattori, which means sheep tracks. These are paths that allow the sheep to migrate downwards from the mountains. I was told that in 1442, before I was born, Alfonso V of Aragon became Alfonso I of Naples. Alfonso established the Royal Shepherd's Track to regulate the trattori and the lowland grazing areas, even those that were once privately owned. He also created the Dogana of Foggia, or Foggia customs, to tax the owners of the flocks. The Royal Doganiero, or Customs Administrator, assigns grazing areas to the migrating shepherds who will stay there until March. At the end of winter, the sheep are sheared. The Pesatori di Lane, or official wool weighers, count the sheared wool and judge its quality. Some of the wool is deposited to them as a guarantee on the payment of the rent for the pasture at the end of the season. However, I have heard that some of these wool weighers are dishonest and judge the wool incorrectly to collect a higher tax. The raw wool is then sold at the spring fair in Foggia, which helps us pay our rents. I have heard that the wool merchants who purchase it can create the most beautiful fabrics, and that these fabrics sell for a much greater price. After they have sold the wool, the shepherds bring the sheep back to our farm in Abruzzo. They usually arrive back sometime in April. This is when my life at the farm is the busiest. My most important job is making the cheese during the spring and summer months. The sheep produce a lot of milk during this time, and because we live far from cities, it is not easy for us to take the milk to the markets. So we make pecorino. The name pecorino comes from pecora, which means sheep in Italian. This recipe has been made much of the same way for hundreds of years, and I learned how to make it when I was a child. First, it is important to milk the sheep early to make the most that day. The milk is generally curdled using lamb's or kid's rennet. The milking bucket, when it has been filled with milk, should be kept at a medium heat. Do not let it come near sources of fire. Rather, keep it well away from fire, and as soon as the liquid is curdled, it should be transferred into baskets or molds. In fact, it is essential that the whey can drain immediately and be separated from the solid matter. Then, when the solid part is removed from the baskets or molds, it should be placed in a cool, dark place so that it does not go off, on tables as clean as possible, and sprinkled with ground salt so that it can sweat. After the pecorino is finished aging, it is transported by donkey to the market to be sold. Because it is a hard cheese, it is very suitable for travel, especially for sailors. It is interesting for me to think about where the cheese I make will end up. Will it be eaten on the same land, or will it be taken to distant lands by sea? All that is transported represents a piece of our culture and tradition, which I feel proud to be a part of.